Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Hog Talk Podcast, live from the Sterling Soap and Roastery Studios, part of the Believe and Buzz Radio Network, where you can hear us each week on 106.7 Buzz 2 in Central Arkansas. All live shows are presented to you by Arkansas Brewing Company in downtown Ozark. I'm Porter Hayes. Alongside me, as always, is Adam Hall, and it is March 2nd, which means March Madness is close, right around the corner. Arkansas did not fare too well against Florida, which we'll break that down in a moment. Arkansas baseball rallied back from a scary midweek series against Arkansas State, dropping the first game against UT Arlington, and then winning the next two games 9-0, 11-1. And then the Arkansas softball team continues to dominate after a 6-0 weekend, improving to 19-1 on the season. And the latest Softball America poll ranked as high as number 5 in the country, and surprisingly ahead of Oklahoma, who is averaging 40 runs a game, it seems like, in their opener. So, but we'll start off with the Florida game. It went honestly, Adam, it went about as bad as what I thought it was going to be. And when we talked about it on Thursday's show, about their inside presence and the double-double and 5 guys in double-digit scoring, and to see that they had 7 guys in double-digit scoring, it seems like that's Arkansas's MO, is they have a couple of guys step up on the opposing team, and it's up to Arkansas to catch up with that. And again, I just think they're running out of gas. I don't take too much into this loss if they do what's right in fixing the problem and getting these guys rested.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't expect a win, but at the same time, I didn't expect this lopsided of a loss. Here's the game that Darius Acuff, more or less, and this is no shot at him or whatever, but just proves that he was human, if you will. Only having 17 points. 2 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 turnovers. Once again, Nick Bringle stacks up 0 points. I don't know what's going on in his head. All the talk behind the scenes. 0 for 5 from free throws. Kevin Brazil only had 3 points, and we've talked about him multiple times throughout this season on how his game is kind of reflects directly on how this team performs. Billy Richmond's continuing his ascent, if you will. Finished with 22 points, 9 of 17, 4 for 4 from free throws, 6 rebounds. Malik Thomas, kind of an average game, 10 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 steals. We got another game out of Ewan that we need, 11 points, 8 rebounds, and that's something that he's had really since the Alabama game when he had 0 points. He's had double digits in every game since, 18, 16, 11 this past Saturday. So that's something that needs to continue. We got 12 points off the bench from DJ Wagner, and we're going to need that. So this was just a game that we've talked about this team not being good defensively, and it especially showed during this game.
Yeah, it's just Pringle, again, going back to him. I mean, it's almost like Cal, danged if you do, danged if you don't. Like, you have to put him in. Like, you got to get him in there because you got to give Ewan a rest. And he ended up with 4 fouls and Pringle. And again, you can go to the foul problems too. They got into foul trouble early. I don't know if that was home cooking. Arkansas had the lead there and had a really good run up to the 14-23 point of the first half, and then it just kind of fell apart. Could have been one of those because you had Ewan 4 fouls, Thomas 4 fouls, Pringle and Brazil all with 4 fouls. That is the problem, and that's what worries me about when you get into March Madness and you get up against some of these bigs, some of these guards that are bigs. How are they going to defend that? And if they get into foul trouble, they're done. And I don't care what kind of team you go up against. If you start getting in foul trouble in March, it's not going to bode well for the team. And still, you got to do better than 54% at the free throw line. If you're undermatched and you're going to get in foul trouble, if that should be right now on top of defense and getting Pringle to pull his head out of his rear end, they need to be working on the free throws. But caveat to that, free throws translates to conditioning. If you're tired, if your legs are tired, your free throws are going to suffer. And it's proving. I'm going 13 to 24 from the free throw line.
And let's take a look at what else I was looking at. You brought up on Thursday's show, and I'm not going to attempt to butcher his last name, but his first name is Ruben.
Yeah.
But 12 points, 16 rebounds. But Florida just had, multiple people step up. Their 5 starters were in double figures, and then another 2 double figures off the bench. Let me see. And I know, the score was lopsided, so they played literally every man on their roster. This goes, though, it's the fear of what's going to happen during the NCAA tournament.
Mm-hmm.
I think for Arkansas to make it to the Elite Eight, to the Final Four, they're going to have some luck on their side. And by that, I think it's going to be Arkansas gets lucky and another team knocks off a Duke or knocks off a Kansas or knocks off a Arizona, BYU, whoever. I think that Arkansas is going to have to get lucky in that sense that another team takes out somebody standing in their way. I just don't see it happening in Arkansas's hands, unfortunately, because you go back and look at some of the teams that we've lost to. What have they all had? They've all had bigs.
Mm-hmm.
And like we saw last year, and we've seen in years past, even with Musselman, that's always what kind of does Arkansas in the NCAA tournament, is a team that is bigger and more physical in the paint, out rebounds us. I know there's some that, this morning they're all just kind of like, oh, we're going to bounce back against Texas and Missouri, and rightfully so, you should. But at the same time, this game, or Saturday's game, just makes me even less comfortable with the NCAA tournament.
Yeah. Let me pull up this tweet right quick that I retweeted earlier. It was the worst quadrant 1A records in the projected NCAA tournament field. Arkansas is 1-7.
Mm-hmm.
So, you're talking about, again, when we wanted them to step up and win this game to prove that they can win these big games. You go Kentucky, Alabama. Those are the two, really, when I look at the big marquee games that they could have proved that they were ready for the moment to win 4 in a row. When you lost to Georgia. So let's just go SEC 1. Wow. Arkansas has only got 1 ranked SEC win. And that was against Vandy. And that's, I'm at right now, Tennessee and Vandy. Because they're only 2 ranked wins that they have. And then you go back to Houston. You lost to Houston, Texas Tech, Louisville. So if you count it, 1, 2, 3, 4 ranked wins on the season against top 25.
Yeah, transplanted Texan. I would go as far as saying, has Arkansas had a front court player that played as big or bigger than himself outside of Corliss?
Jalen Williams.
Well, I was actually just going to go too with Adrio Bailey.
Yeah,
I think he was listed about 6'8", 6'9". No, he was maybe in like 6'6", but he played as a big, and he out rebounded a lot of folks because he pushed them around. But yeah, definitely Jalen Williams. But this is something. Who was it? Was it on Ruskin and Zach this afternoon? I heard them talking about even going back to Arkansas and bigs, and a lot of the talk was Nick Pringle. But I mean, hell, at this point, bring me back one of the Mitchell twins.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just looking at Calipari has struck out on bigs thus far, and I know it's only been 2 seasons, but I'm going to keep repeating this until it happens, that until you go find your next Anthony Davis or Boogie Cousins, you're not going to, I mean, in my opinion, you're not going to get to the promised land, because even Calipari's best Kentucky teams, you had a big Anthony Davis, DeMarcus Cousins, even Oscar Sheboy. I mean, did he have the NBA career? No, of course not. But he still won National Player of the Year.
Yep.
So until you get a big, it's not gonna happen in the state of Arkansas.
Well, and you got to call a spade a spade. If we're going to critique the football program for saying we're biggest, the fastest, we're the strongest, we're this, leading into this season, we're talking about how many bigs we have, how many 7-footers we have on this team, how long we're going to be, and that's been your biggest weakness. So you have to hold them to the same accountability. If what you're promoting is going to be your biggest, your strength to this team outside of Acuff and Malik Thomas, next in line was your bigs, and only one's proven to show up. And honestly, yes, Brazil's been wonderful this year, but he's kind of went AWOL in some of these games. And, you know, when we say true bigs, yes, just because, you know, Big Z, not a true big. He wanted to shoot threes all the time. Just because they say 7 foot beside their name on that roster doesn't mean they're a true big. And I don't know what it's going to take to get that, but maybe he needs to spend more money on that. I don't know, but we all know, even during Musselman's, that was the thing that kept them out of the Final Four a couple of times. You went against Baylor teams that were just big, strong, out-rebounded you, and you're going down this same pattern. So I'm afraid it's going to come to the point was if only thing Cal can do is get you to a Sweet 16 or Elite 8, the Musselman comparisons are going to come back. You know, it's all nice and well when you're getting these 5 stars, but there's more expectations from Cal than there is Musselman. He's got to be doing better. And if he doesn't prove that they're going to continuously get to the Elite 8, like we said a month ago when I was talking about Sweet 16 or bust, and we're going to start talking after performances like this against another big opponent, that conversation is going to start getting more and more prominent amongst media members.
And I look at too, and this is no knock on the coaching staff by any means, because I respect every single one of them. But under Calipari, there's always a focus on guards. And I look at, you know, with Corliss Williamson's name being brought up, you know, he's an assistant with the Spurs, and he's had a good track record being an NBA assistant. Go throw him whatever he wants to come coach the bigs here.
Yeah.
He can obviously do it at the NBA level. He can obviously do it with teams that have bigs. Why wouldn't he want to coach here unless there's just something that I guess would be keeping him away? Maybe if it, you know, didn't go well or whatever the case may be, but he loves the program. He loves the state. Why not go throw him a bag to come be the assistant coach and coach your bigs? I don't get that, because I know that the NBA assistant coaching salaries, I don't think is public information, but I guarantee you Coach Calipari and John Tyson could pay Corliss Williamson more than he's making with the San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, that would be one of the nostalgia hires that would work out because he has legitimate coaching experience. He's been in the game for a very long time. Got to do something, because I just have a feeling the way this is going, as I see it right now, you talk about luck. I feel they're going to get lucky with the draw. I think that the committee is going to see what Darius Acuff's done. They're going to see what this team has done in their overall performance and having a 21-8 record. We don't know what that will be going into the SEC tournament or postseason play, but as of right now, you're 21-8 and 11-5 in conference. It's crazy that we're almost talking like this is a 500 team. But if you really want to stack it to where this team should be and where they are, you know, you're third in the conference, but still, yeah, we're looking at end game.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, it's nice that you're top 3 in the SEC. But we got to quit sugarcoating this thing of, man, they're a top 3 team. They're going to be just fine. They're going to bounce back, and they never seem to. So we're going to have those conversations of, look, your record away and neutral is 6-7, 4-5 away from Bud Walton Arena, 2-2 on neutral court. Look, you got one more game away, so you're going to probably finish 16-1 at home. And the rest of the games are going to be on a neutral court. So, when you look at, it's easy to win at home. It's easier. It's easier to win at home. But when you look and you show that you're a team that's supposed to be an Elite 8 team, and you're 6-7 when it comes to your neutral and away games, they got to fix that. They got to learn. And you're talking about foul trouble. You think the refs are crazy during the regular season. Wait till March Madness coming around. Wait till those media timeouts and flow of the game. When there's 8 timeouts and media timeouts in the first 10 minutes of a game.
This is something that you're currently sitting at third. We know what we think about the SEC tournament. I would sit Acuff, and I know he's against that. We've heard him say it himself, but at this point, I would rest him at least until, rest him the final 2 regular season games. If you want to play him in one of the SEC tournament games, sure. But I would be content with resting him until the NCAA tournament gets here, just so he can heal and just so he can get some rest, because they're going to need him more than anybody during the NCAA tournament.
You play him Wednesday for sure. I mean, this is good. Honestly, look, that's going to be the last time fans get to see him play in Bud Walton Arena. You play him against Texas, and then I would sit him, because you look, it's a 6 p.m. game on Wednesday. He's going to give it his all, his last game in Bud Walton Arena. You got an 11 a.m. start on Saturday in Columbia. Sit him, and possibly, let's see, depending on your seating, if you stay 3 or 4, you get a double bye, then maybe play him on Friday and then sit him. But I don't think you can just totally shut him down because the rust and whatever. But you play him Wednesday for the fans. You play him because, again, there's going to be a lot of people at that game on Wednesday to see him play his last game inside Bud Walton Arena. And then that Missouri game, you sit him.
And I honestly, we haven't seen it in the 2 to 3 years or whatever that Trevor Brazil has been here. But your last game at Mizzou, the school you came from, you haven't had a good showing against Mizzou really since you came to Arkansas. You've had a hell of a season for the most part. You've stayed as healthy as you've ever been at Arkansas. I look at that Missouri game, the last game, that's time for Trevor Brazil to shine.
Mm-hmm.
Just go put it on your former school, because we've yet to see you do it.
Well, and we say this every year. You've got 2 regular season games left. Let's say just at least 2 games in the SEC tournament. There's 4. Let's say you go on a run, 3, 4 games, whatever, you win it all. How many ever games that is? You've got less than 10 games in a Razorback uniform left. You have a chance to get healthy and do something that hasn't been done since 1994. It is elite as this program is, that they're on the cusp of being considered a blue blood. You haven't won a national championship since 1994, and you have a chance to do that. Pringle, step up. Go all out. Take some of the low. DJ Wagner, step up. Do you give us a 20-point game against Missouri? Take some of that load off Darius Acuff. Malik Thomas, have a game. Everybody step up, and then go into the NCAA tournament and go on a run and win the whole thing. Because you have a chance to be legendary. There's a difference between being great, because if you don't, you're just going to be another one of those Musselman teams or Cal teams that went to a Sweet 16 and Elite 8. You make it to the Final Four, a national championship game, you could be remembered forever. And you have the talent to do that. You got to save your legs. You got to go out and play every game legitimately like it's your last. And if you come home to Fayetteville with the national championship trophy, I mean, you hear 94 all the time. because that's all we have. And until that happens, it's going to be the same song and dance. But you have a special team this year. I believe this team, if Pringle is playing and Ewan's playing, they're all playing, they can win a national championship, but they haven't done it yet in a big time game.
Oh, then it makes you wonder if it's ever going to happen, or is it too little too late?
Is there a curse? I mean, is it I don't know. I wouldn't say the Alabama loss was a momentum killer for the team, because that was a dogfight. I mean, that was a double overtime war. Now, I'll say this: if you would have went to Alabama in the outcome that the Florida game and you got beat 111-77 in Alabama, I think that would have been a momentum killer, because you have 2 games in between. In Florida game, I think you're just out of gas. Now, should you have got beat by almost 40? I don't think so. But if you would have lost that big at Alabama, I think that would have been a big of a momentum killer, because then you bounce back and you won 2 in a row. I mean, let's face it, Florida's ranked 7th, but they're a top 3 team. They are good. They'll be a Final Four team.
Mm-hmm.
Right there, you want to look at your base value of, if you want to make it to a national championship, you've got to be able to play with Florida, and you've got to be able to play with Duke. You've got to be able to play with a BYU, somebody with a big. And until they learn how to do that, they're going to be stuck in the Sweet 16.
Yeah. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They've got very little time to find themselves, but they need to do it quick.
Yeah. Texas, 6 p.m. Look, again, ESPN2, pack the Palace. It's going to be the last time you'll probably see Darius Acuff, Malik Thomas. It will be the last game for Trevin Brazil. I'm sure. I mean, all the transfers. Pardon me on Ewan, but when I say the ones that you're really going to miss out on, Brazil, Thomas, Acuff. I believe this is going to be Wagner's last game, right? Or does he have another?
He's a junior.
Okay, he's a junior. Mm-hmm. So, and then you finish out the year Saturday at Missouri, ESPN2 also on Wednesday, and then ESPN2 Missouri at 11 a.m. So 2 more games, regular season, but win against Texas, rest against Missouri, and then it's postseason play.
I'm ready for it.
So we're going to take a quick commercial break. After the break, we're going to start off with some combine news and just go into the discussion of Arkansas players having great combines, producing NFL talent, but it's not transitioning to wins. What's the deal with that? And we'll wrap up with some baseball, softball talk, and we'll be right back after the break. Searching for premium brewery products that will take your daily routine to the next level? Look no further than Sterling Soap Company. Our handmade soaps, aftershaves, and balms are made with only the finest ingredients that give you the ultimate grooming experience. With a variety of scents to choose from, there's something for everyone. Plus, our products are crafted in small batches to ensure the highest level of quality. So why wait? Visit www.sterlingsoap.com or visit our retail store at 16 West Walnut Street in Paris, Arkansas. Shop our collection and discover the difference for yourself. Upgrade your grooming routine with Sterling Soap Company. Are you looking for a place to grab a cold drink and some delicious food? Look no further than Arkansas Brewing Company. Located at 201 South 1st Street in beautiful downtown Ozark, our establishment offers a wide selection of craft beers and tasty eats. But what sets us apart is our welcoming atmosphere and friendly staff. At Arkansas Brewing Company, you'll always feel like part of the family. So visit Destiny and Christopher Brockett and staff today and see for yourself what makes us the go-to spot for locals and visitors alike. Arkansas Brewing Company, come for the drinks and stay for the friends. Attention DIYers and home improvement enthusiasts. Are you searching for the right tools and supplies to tackle your next project? Look no further than Mentor's Hardware Store. With locations in Ozark, Alma, and Clarksville, our vast selection of hardware and building materials is sure to have everything you need, whether you're fixing a leaky faucet or building a new deck. Plus, our knowledgeable staff is always on hand to offer expert advice and guidance. And with our competitive prices and convenient online ordering, Mentor's Hardware Store is your one-stop shop for all your DIY needs. Visit us today and let's build something amazing together. Are you looking to take your career to the next level? Look no further than ATU Ozark Campus. As a 2-year satellite campus of Arkansas Tech University, we're dedicated to a quality workforce education, industry partnerships for in-demand jobs, and tailored paths for success. Our programs are led by industry professionals. Whether it's a certificate or you're aiming for a graduate degree, ATU Ozark has you covered. Visit our website at www.atu.edu/Ozark or contact us at 479-667-2117. Your future begins here. Welcome to Ozark Area Chamber of Commerce, where our mission is simple: encourage, promote, and aid an enduring environment of shared economic opportunity and civic development for the Ozark, Arkansas area. Whether you're a local business owner or a resident, we've got something for you. Shop our unique local businesses, explore the beauty of Ozark, and savor local flavors and find cozy accommodations. Join us in building a stronger community. And to learn more, contact us at 479-667-2525. Remember, together we thrive. And welcome back to the Hog Talk podcast. Adam, we had some surprising stars at the NFL Combine over the weekend, and I'll tell you what, Taylor Green showing out. Mike Washington emotional after his 40-yard performance, and it's love how the fact that when people were posting those videos and they were saying this is why they do what they do. Neil had a great outing, and there was a couple of guys that had a really good combine. And for those who say, you know, why do they have the combine? When you're on a 2-win team and you go to the combine and you show out like this, you end up performing and having Isaac Tesla's. You know, you have the guys who didn't shine during the season. They go to the combine and wow. And I know Taylor Green was highly touted, very talented, but man, really showing off his arm strength, having a good combine. But what really surprised you the most from the combine?
It's one of those that I think Mike Washington, I knew he was fast. I think we all did. But to lead all running backs, and I do have a video here. It's about 40 seconds long, kind of breaking down Mike Washington's combine. But with all of his attributes and statistics, he ranks as the number one running back out of over 2,000 running backs since 1987 to do the combine. And, you know, you just hope that for his sake translates to a great NFL career. We knew Taylor Green was fast. His accuracy looked there, you know, during those drills and everything. But everything with Taylor Green, it just comes down to pocket presence, your offensive line, getting pressure. I mean, even Diego Pavia looked all right at the NFL Combine, all 5'9" of them. So it's one of those, the combine is like, I'm more interested now that we've seen the combine and seen the results to see what the pro day is like for these guys. But I'm going to play that clip for about Mike Washington right quick.
The running back who's going viral for getting emotional after his blistering 40-yard dash ended up with one of the greatest combine performances in history. Arkansas running back Mike Washington came into the combine as a projected late-round draft pick, and despite weighing in at 223 pounds, he ended up with that 4.33 40 that got him emotional and led the way for running backs this year. But you see the jumps, they were at the top of the charts too. But it gets crazier because look at this. When you add in all of his measurements for his relative athletic score, he's projected to finish first out of over 2,000 running backs they've tested since 1987. We might be looking at the most athletic running back in years, and don't forget, he weighs 223. So completely fair to get emotional as he boosted his stock almost certainly up into one of the top 2 or 3 running backs off the board. What team do you think should draft Arkansas's Mike Washington?
Yeah.
And, I mean, you know, kind of like we talked about before the show, it's one of those things that, yeah, we had 2 guys sub in the 4.3s, you know, that were in our backfield here at Arkansas. But 40 times running a straight line doesn't always equate to a whole lot. You look at John Ross, who ran, I think, the fastest combine, 4.2 something, 4.1, whatever it was years back. He had no NFL career. So it doesn't translate to a whole heck of a lot, but I feel like Mike Washington has something special in him. And that, you know, there's already the talk with Taylor Green on should he switch to wide receiver.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Well, if it's proof in the pudding. When you talk about the last regime and their strength and conditioning program, I mean, they were all about speed. So, I mean, at least that, if you want to get faster, go to Arkansas. I mean, that's just where you want to go. I mean, track, football, I mean, they're going to get you faster, and they'll hang their hat on that. But I just like the fact that somebody like Mike Washington, when running backs are so rare, we even seen, with Genty out of Boise State. I mean, Heisman Trophy caliber quarterback or running back, they're not getting drafted like they used to. So if you have a guy like Washington who could sit there and maybe you're an undrafted free agent and now you have a chance to just get drafted or go chance. I mean, that right there could be huge for him. Well, you never know, second or third round guy. And Taylor Green, we all know again what's going on with him, and if you're having him transition to wide receiver, I mean, I remember Eric Crouch at Nebraska won the Heisman Trophy, got to the NFL, and they wanted to transition to wide receiver, and it didn't pan out for him. I mean, that is the risk you take when you're going to be this versatile quarterback, scramble and throw up prayers. You need to stay in the pocket, be a pocket presence quarterback if you're going to want to make it in the NFL. The fact that this football program is where it is the last couple of years, and we're continuously putting guys like Isaac Tesla in the NFL, and everybody's like, where are these guys coming from? What happened to them at Arkansas? And I feel like Washington's going to be that same type of player. He's going to have a decent NFL career, and everybody's going to be talking about him like everybody was talking about Tesla this year.
Now, I kind of look at Taylor Green. He could end up just being like, I mean, obviously he won't switch to this position, but Felipe Frank switching to tight end. And I mean, he's, made a couple of teams, he's gotten in a couple games, but more or less he's an afterthought. So a lot of this is just going to come down to Taylor Green and what is he willing to do to get on an NFL roster, whether it's at quarterback, whether it's wide receiver, or are we going to see Taylor Green in the UFL?
Yeah.
In one of the spring leagues. So, and if that's what he chooses to do, so be it. I haven't thought, I don't think we've ever truly thought that I was going to see Taylor Green in the NFL as quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely. And you never know, he might surprise us. But I mean, what was he at, a 43-inch vertical or something like that? He had a killer vertical. Yeah, you might put him in there at wide receiver or put some meat on his bones and put him at a tight end. You never know. But best of luck to all of them. Cam Ball even had a decent outing at the combine. So we'll see how that goes with those guys and their NFL career. But, you hate it for them because you wish that the defense would have been better because there's no telling how that affects somebody's career in the NFL or a combine or a look. I don't know how much weight they even put on these combines anymore when it comes to really seeing, okay, yes, they're, like you said, it's just a 40-yard dash. It's just these drills with no pads. There's no players around. You're just showing off your athletic ability. So how much does that even carry over anymore? Because once you get to camp, you still have the cut. So we'll see. But we'll move on to softball. Softball, man, another amazing weekend for Arkansas softball. 19-1 on the year, 6-0 on the weekend. The only one that gave them a scare was Saturday at Omaha. They won 4-2. Every other game was a run rule. 5 innings, 10-2, 10-1, 14-3, 9-0, and 11-3 on the year. And for the year, Robin Heron, 8-0 on the year, 1.31 ERA. Threw a no-hitter last weekend. She's already up to 71 strikeouts on the year, only giving up 5 home runs and a 0.125 batting average against her. So this is where we talked about the possibility of this team being different. When you look at their pitching staff, outside of Lexi King and Reese Berline, everybody else is a 2 ERA and below. Cam Harrison, brilliant, 3-0, 2.1 ERA. Sailor Timmerman, 3-0, 2.07 ERA. The freshman phenom, and this is somebody that when SEC play comes around, you're going to hear her name, Lily Faye McWhorter, 2.0 ERA. She is a burner, 70 miles per hour and above on the radar. And then you have Peyton Vernon alongside Robin here. But the batting, too, Brilliant Balin, 532 average. She's hit 1 home run. The home run leader right now is Tiana Bell with 6 home runs on the year, 21 RBIs. Already hit 182 runs batted in this year. Not outside of OU. I don't know if there's another, I would say, electrifying team. It's hard to say you're OU when you're winning games 30 and 40 to nothing.
Yeah, and they start SEC play this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday against Georgia, 6 p.m., 5 p.m., 1 p.m. Is that this weekend? Yeah, it's crazy that it's already March.
Yes.
But no, they're kicking things off, keep it rolling. But obviously, I mean, getting to Oklahoma City, getting past it, I mean, there's a lot of things standing in their way. Can this team do it? I think they truly can. This team is stacked right now. And so it's something that I know we talk about, like with Coach Van Horn and even Calipari now, time is of the essence for them. I put Deifel in that same boat for different reasons, that time is of the essence to do it now.
Yeah. And, going back to OU, I mean, they're playing like an LSU type non-con, schedule, but still, when you're winning 29-6, what was it? 23-3, 29-6, 32-0. I mean, it's just crazy how many home runs they've hit this year. I think they're already up to 70 home runs this year. Let me look at their stats. I can't find this. They're not wanting to provide their stats, I guess. But anyways, I want to say they've hit like 71 home runs. But yeah, back to Deifel. Yes, I mean this is. She said that this is her most talented team. And when you look at the team and what they've lacked, they've either lacked hitting or they've lacked pitching, or they've been dealt injuries in the past when it comes to postseason play. They've been so close a couple of times to make it to Oklahoma City. I can't remember what year it was when they played Texas in the Super Regionals, 1 game away. I mean, they were close and they just run out of gas against Texas in the Super Regionals to advance to Oklahoma City. But yeah.
What did you say? What did you guess for their home runs? 71 is
what I said.
86.
86.
Okay. 86 home runs in 21 games. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
That's insane.
So in 21 games, they're 19-2 at bats runs. So they've scored 294 runs, 282 hits, 41 doubles, 2 triples, 86 home runs, a 964 slugging percentage, walked 123 times, stolen bases, even 29 stolen bases on 32 attempts. So their batting average is 465.
They're averaging 4 home runs a game.
Yeah.
They're averaging more home runs a game than some teams are averaging runs a game.
Correct.
That's insane. I really think they took, to saying that this NIL, and they remind me of UConn women's basketball. Everybody thought when NIL came, they would kind of ride off in the sunset, and you'd see other teams, Texas Tech threatening them and everything, and then here you come, and OU, they buckle down, and you see what's going on with the team. It's incredible that what Gasso's done this season. Yeah.
So I'm looking at Arkansas's hit 32 home runs in comparison. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going back. I don't think this is how dominant. I don't think they won the national championship last year. They lost to Texas Tech last year. So, yeah, they didn't win it all, and they're coming back for a vengeance this year. So, on to baseball. Go ahead.
I said we'll see what happens.
Yeah. On to baseball. Again, they had us on a scare Friday. I mean, when you're honestly like, what's going on with this team? You lose 12-4 to Arkansas State on Tuesday. You won 1-0. You're like, okay, woo. And then Friday coming along, you lost the opener 4-3 to UT Arlington. You bounce back to win the series 9-0, 11-1. But this is where I'm torn, Adam. It's again, when we're talking about these elite programs and we're talking about panic button now or later, the reason why I worry is, you're going to face some of these teams where, yeah, you might win the series, but that Friday game is telling to me, because what if you're losing against everybody's Friday starter? Well, you get to SEC play. Guess what? That's what you're going to be facing 3 times in a weekend. And it starts to get to the point to where, okay, we bounce out of this. We're doing good against Oral Roberts. We're doing good against Stetson. But then when Mississippi State comes to town and you start playing these SEC series on top of these midweek games, you start off Mississippi State, then South Carolina, then Florida. Is it too early to be worried about the baseball team?
Yeah, I think it's too early to be worried about. I think there's some concerns. And I go to the flu and the strep stuff, and I feel like we're making excuses when we start throwing that stuff out there. I kind of look at it. I forget what year he said it, but it's been talked about from Dave Van Horn. And I know this is more SEC play driven, or even but game 1, Friday night games, he's going to throw his best pitchers in there. Mm-hmm. He wants to win every single Friday night game. And I don't know. I think pitching is a weakness for us. And we've talked about this last year. We've talked about this year before. You see these other teams, like especially LSU in the years past, that they go and have one of the top 1, 2, or 3 pitchers in the nation. And I feel like that's something, they go buy them. That's the world we live in these days. And I think that's something that Arkansas has not been able to do. Yes, we've had elite closers, but I'm talking about and we've talked about this before too, like when you're going to go buy a Paul Skeens. Yeah. Because I feel like that's what Arkansas has been missing year after year after year.
Well, and you go back to last year, that's how LSU did it. I mean, they did it with pitching. You had 3 guys that were all aces. I mean, that's what the point where we just got done talking about Coach Deifel and the softball team, and, having 3 studs in a rotation for the first time. I mean, legit 3 healthy studs in the rotation. And now it's coming to pass to where that's where Dave Van Horn is. He might get 1 or 2 or maybe just 1. But when you're getting into the fact of right now, you've got 4 guys. Fisher's 2-0, and Gibbler is 1-0, 11 innings pitched. Collins pitched 19 innings, but then you go down to the next 2 starters, and they have 3.68 ERA, 4.15 ERAs, and they're giving up a lot of home runs. Mm-hmm. They've already given up 20 home runs this year. If I'm reading the stat sheet correctly, they've given up opponents 20 home runs. Or it might be we've given up 11 and opponents we've already hit 20 home runs. Let me look and see. Yeah, we've hit 20 home runs. So I had it flip-flop. So Arkansas's given up 11 home runs this year already. Mm-hmm. And 4 of them come from your starting pitching.
And then Tuesday, you got Oral Roberts this weekend against Stetson, like you mentioned, which that one's a 4-game stretch, Friday through Monday. Yeah, Friday through Monday. And the Mississippi State game is going to be here quick.
Yeah.
So it's something that they need to figure out a few things before March 13th. But mm-hmm. It's something that it's too early to be throwing in the towel like some folks.
And we have that every year, but we've done this. This is, we got to stop with the whole they'll finally figure it out, because in the end they've never figured it out.
Mhm.
We know the end, and I'm sorry it's tough for a lot of people to hear, but when we talk about this, we're like, well, we're just jumping off the bandwagon. We'll be good when they win 3 SEC. I'm looking at end game. I'm looking at, we want this team to win a national championship. That's where we're at with this program. They've been to Omaha. They've been to the final series. They've done it all but win a national championship. And if this program's getting all the funds, they're getting all the help, they're getting all the good players, you have hell of a coaching staff. The only thing is missing is that national championship. This is a national championship caliber program, so we have to hold them to that accountability. And I know, look, if this would have been just dropping the first series or first game of the series and then they ended up winning, but when you lost the way you did to Arkansas State and then squeaked out the win on Wednesday and then followed it up by a loss, it doesn't matter what UT Arlington's done. You better bounce back against in the next, and I would say sweep. You win the next 5 games in a row. I mean, it's where you're at.
I'm with that.
Unless you want to throw Oral Roberts and look, you're just trying to get your midweek and you're trying to get people in. But Stetson, you need to come out. All right, we're going to go balls to the wall. We're going to come out. We're looking to sweep, because we know after Monday, March 9th, we got Mississippi State coming in March 13th, and they're going to be ready to go.
100%. And before we get out of here, let's just mark this down. Transplant and Texan brought it up in the comments earlier. I just pulled it up. Yes, the Razorback raffle is currently sitting at $740 for this weekend's game. So we will revisit this on Thursday and see where they've come up to in the next few days.
Well, and also before we go, I know it's been a rough year for them. It's been a really rough year for the Arkansas women's basketball team. Started off hot. You finished the regular season 12-19, 1-15 in conference play. You had the SEC tournament coming up, but look, you got an SEC win against Auburn, 70-41. So congrats to Arkansas for getting an SEC win before the season was over with. It was a rough year. We know when you're playing in the toughest conference in the country, brand new head coach, you get no NIL support from the university for your women's programs. So to come in and do what you did, look, congratulations. You deserve to celebrate that win. I know you went 1-15 in the league, but mad props to Music in her first year. Hopefully things get better and she can start building a program. But look, guys, it's a very imperative. Start helping out these women's programs. That's why we preach so much about the raffles and we preach about NIL, because, programs like the women's basketball team, soccer team, heck, we can even throw in the softball team. They're getting lost. They're getting a little help, but they're not getting as much help as these other programs, and they're going to fall by the wayside. And you keep on pissing opportunities down the drain to help all of the athletic programs at the University of Arkansas. And guess what? All these programs keep on winning SEC championships, and they get no NIL help as a big thank you. So to the administration, do better. And that's where I'll end it. Adam, you got anything else?
I do not.
All right. Well, that will do it for this episode of the Hog Talk podcast. Thank you for all of our fans, all of our sponsors for tuning in, and we will catch you on Thursday.